Hello, Internet. So for the past week, I've been living in my parents' home in southeastern Massachusetts for the Christmas holiday, but also because on Christmas Eve I tested positive for the coronavirus as part of the surge in cases here in the United States right now. Luckily, I feel fine, other than a few days of bad cold and general chest tightness. Anyways, that has nothing to do much with this video, but it's the reason why I was in the woods on this day. When I'm not quarantining in my parents' basement, I live my life in a city, so it's not like I can just walk out my door and head into the woods. And as someone who spent a not insignificant amount of time in the northeast of the United States, I cherished this Christmas day I could spend in the woods, and I think those of you who have also spent time here know what I mean. At the risk of sounding annoying, there was a wonderful feeling to being in the woods in the northeast, particularly in the winter. The trees are thin and all blend together, and pine needles and damp leaves coat the ground among slippery moss-covered rocks that always seem to catch you off balance once in a while. But the most unique feeling of the New England woods are the stone walls. Lines of randomly assorted rocks of different shapes and sizes are all over the place, probably untouched for hundreds of years. Most of the time I'll barely notice the rock walls at all because they're so common in the region you'd be in the woods all day. But then sometimes I'll stop for a couple seconds and think, wow, that wall has probably been sitting there for hundreds of years, and the farmer who gathered and laid the stones to mark his property and build his home couldn't have begun to imagine what would eventually become the United States. I mean, the walls are actual examples of those who walked these woods before they were just trails for residents seeking a bit of escape to the outdoors. I mean, come on, is there anything cooler than that? But there's also other implications to the hundreds of miles of stone walls that still line New England's towns and forests. In the 1700s, as the British colonies became more established, deforestation ensued at higher rates to make way for more property for white settlers, more farms, and really fuel the increased commerce that was enriching the colonists and the British Empire. As a result, New England's soil became more exposed to the colder weather, causing more frost, and tons of stones were slowly pushed further up to the surface, making rock easier to carve and harvest. And with increased commerce and a post-Revolutionary War baby boom, there was more manual labor to lift and carry said stones to build more walls. But as I walk and observe the stone walls today, I'm also reminded of the consequences of the structures, how there was civilization already here on this land that was forcefully and violently taken to be able to construct these stone walls. Like the woods you're seeing me in now, it really belongs to the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. And given what we know about American history, there's a likelihood that many of the stone walls around New England were constructed with forced and violent slavery. So what do I do with all of this? What do we do with this information? I obviously can't answer that in one video, but I do think I can still stare and wonder at the stone walls of New England forests and towns, in awe of how the walls give us an opportunity to imagine the people who drove, or more likely rode, down our streets, the conversations they had, neighborhood gossip of the time. But at the same time, blind admiration is ignorant, and in this case, violent. So maybe the next time you're in the woods, or a town, or an old home, whether there's a randomly placed stone wall or not, you'll join me in marveling at the history that surrounds us, that breathes through us, while also trying to pause, listen, and see the whole picture. Thanks for listening.